Hello dears, and welcome back to the channel where we share a lot of interesting and useful information about Benidorm and Spain in general, either for tourists or for those of you who want to live in Spain or live here already. Let's start with today's latest news update. First of all, let's talk shortly about the situation. As you all know, on the 20th of May, so a few days ago, Spanish government has officially published a change to the law where they say that people from third countries can travel equally with people from European Union and Schengen zones. So they will be able to travel not only with a vaccination or recovery certificate, but also with a negative test result. However, the next following days, we did not see any changes on the official Spanish government website, spth.gov.es, where usually people were supposed to fill in the travel form, which was kind of strange. However, I've checked it yesterday and today in the morning, and it has changed completely already. The part for the third countries has disappeared almost entirely, and the only thing saying right now are general rules for every single tourist, every traveler in the world. And it does not depend if your country is in a high risk anymore or if it's a third country or European Union. The only difference here is that if you're fully vaccinated and you have your National Health System certificate, better if it's a digital one. However, paper ones I've seen, they've accepted them as well. If you do have that one, you do not need to fill in any kind of travel form on the Spanish government website. If you don't have it with you, then you need to follow the same procedures as people were doing so far, which is register on the spth.gov.es government website to download the traveling certificate from there. Generally, this is the situation. The cases here of the virus, they're decreasing themselves, which is normal for summer. The worries are around the monkeypox. Once again, you know it. Right now, officially, there are more or less 130 confirmed cases in general worldwide, and Spain is 1/3 of all these cases, which is slightly worrying. It's more than 40 cases in here, but I mean, it is what it is. Spain does have a vaccine which has been stored in the closed storages for like decades and decades, and it has not been used. However, we do have it, so if there is going to be a necessity to use it, Spain will do so, as the government has stated. However, they do not seem to be concerned as much as they were previously when all this started. And the government's experts also say that there is a really low risk on having another endemic, like, or pandemic disease, you know, as it was with COVID. So all good. Fingers crossed it will stay that way. By the way, right now already there is a huge increase of tourism after they've canceled the third country restrictions. You cannot imagine the amount of people that are coming right now to Spain. I'm talking every now and then with different hotels, and I've just seen that it's crazy on how many people there are coming to Benidorm's area in general. Hotels are starting to be fully booked on some of the days, and not even here on the South Spain, for example, North Spain in Barcelona, Catalonia, a lot of regions that are coastal areas especially. Some hotels don't have rooms available on some specific days in summer, which is just great for the recovery of our region. And this summer probably will be one of the busiest ones of the last few years. The next news comes from the Benidorm's Poniente area, which is becoming more and more popular each time. However, both tourists and locals were not really happy with the recent state in which some of the areas of the Poniente Beach walking alley were, especially the wooden panels that are on quite some parts of the Poniente Beach. They were in quite a bad state. Some of them were broken and just unstable, slightly even dangerous, you know, for people to pass. Also, it was really difficult for people with a wheelchair, with limited mobility, or people with children with boogies, you know, to go past this area, because the holes in between the wooden decks were so big that it was constantly getting in it, you know, the wheels, and people just had a lot of difficulties with it. Right now, Benidorm has finally approved a continuation of the plan, of the reform plan, massive plan for Benidorm. You know, Benidorm is trying to be modern, it's trying to be clean, it's trying to neutralize a lot of the CO2 gas emissions. It's trying to go energy neutral and eco-sustainable as well, with some solar panels and limiting the lighting system with LED lights in the city. And a lot more of things are coming in place shortly here in town. So definitely it's going to be quite a big change. And right now, at least, they've already said that they're going to be changing all that area of the wooden paddles, which is this one that you can see more or less. This is one of the parts of different areas. And they're going to be substituting these with technological wood. I'm not sure what it is, but I suppose it's some kind of a treated wood type that basically will be more durable and will stay there for a longer time. It's going to be more secure, it's going to be more efficient, and just look way better for tourists and locals. This project will cost not as much as others in Benidorm, I must say, just 1.4 million euros. Usually the products here are above like 3-4 million, so this one kind of seems on the cheaper side. But it's a very positive news for us. By the way, not only this one is happening, the Poniente Beach area in general, all the Poniente area, since it's growing, since it's evolving, a lot of new buildings on the skyline of Benidorm are emerging, as I've told you in the last news update. What they did is create a new park, a huge park in that area, which not only locals will be able to enjoy, but also tourists that are staying in some of the hotels on the Poniente Beach, especially if you're coming with children and you want slightly calm, like more relaxing holidays than on the Levante Beach. It can be, you know, because it's way more crowded, especially in summer. And on the Poniente Beach, on one of the avenues, which is Avenue of Colombia, in the new residential area, they've did a huge park of more or less 4,500 square meters. And this is how it's going to be looking like. It's almost already, they've planted more than 400 trees in there, which is supposed to absorb more than 55 tons of CO2 annually. So it's just great for all of us to see that the town is changing. It's just a shame that on the Levante part, we don't really have much of a free space left, I must say, to do parks like this. However, they do plant more and more trees and different plants in the city wherever they can to make sure that the equilibrium, you know, of cement buildings is more or less the same as of a green plants, because like this the city is more cozy to walk in and explore. And personally, all those of us who live here, we are really happy that Benidorm is doing all these changes. And the last news coming from Spain in general, this is not only affecting Benidorm, but a lot of areas here in our sunny, lovely country. This is the hospitals, the social security hospitals and free medical assistance that we have in here, those of us who do work and have the social security. The thing with it is that for the last couple of years, it's been really difficult for the primary medical assistants and for the health centers to cope with the amount of patients. A lot of the doctors and nurses in general, sanitary workers they call right here, all of them have been coping with too much stress, and many went for the long-term holidays, let's call it like this, due to depression and anxiety and panic attacks, because they were not able to deal with the amount of work that they needed to do. So right now, for quite some time, we've had all the unnecessary, non-urgent, let's call it like this, better surgeries, they've cancelled them, and minor surgeries were also cancelled. And starting from March, more or less, they've decided to run them back again. They went back on track. They've sent a lot of patients to the private hospitals to get operated there as well, to get the surgeries done, because it's a lot faster process, you know. However, right now they say that there is a really difficult situation once again, because a lot of doctors are at the point of getting retired right now. So basically here in our region of Alicante, we have a lack of approximately 250 doctors inside of the primary health care and health centers, and in the hospitals as well in general. So the lack of that, plus the lack of materials as well, and the lack of time, the most important thing, is something that is making them to cancel non-urgent surgeries, minor surgeries back again. Especially these ones are like for non-invasive, like minor invasive surgeries in dermatology. Right now, the thing is that in summer, a lot of people before going on holidays, they're doing general checkups. They want to check their skin, especially for the aggressive sun that we have here in Spain, you know, just in case, you never know. Especially if you're spending a lot of hours on the sunshine. They are taking like some minor things on the skin with the laser surgeries as well. And all this is totally collapsed. For dermatologists, it's impossible to get any kind of appointment like for the next 4 or 5 months, probably, maybe even more. And for traumatology, like surgeries as well, there is a huge waiting list still. Sometimes people wait for 1 year for a surgery. That's better to do it urgently to avoid later complications. But it is what it is. They cannot do anything. It's not the fault of the doctors in here. Those of you who live here, you know it. It's not a fault of the staff who's working. The fault is of the government who's not bringing more measures, who's not bringing more materials, more specialists inside, and not giving proper work conditions so that people would not abandon Spain and go abroad to work. And instead, they would have stayed here and we would have all the needs covered. Sad situation, but true. Also, lately, I've noticed a huge decrease of quality in terms of the appointments in the private hospitals. You know that here in Benidorm we do have 2 private hospitals, which are proper hospitals as they are, which is IMED Levante, and then there's HCB Clinic Benidorm, which is Hospital Clínica Benidorm. And these 2 especially are taking care of a lot of patients, not only here living here in Spain, but also of tourists who are coming here on holidays and then something's wrong and they will go and use the travel insurance that they have to be able to be attended. The emergency units is getting collapsed some of the days. Sometimes you have even 20-25 people behind you waiting. So it's a huge waiting time, to be honest, and it's really surprising. Although I think that every time more and more people are getting private insurances in here, so they're using more private hospitals than they do public ones. And soon it's going to be the other way around. Private one will be too blocked and the public one will be free and easier to access. Hopefully it's not going to be the case, but it is what it kind of seems right now. And consultations as well, it's really difficult to get. Some points you also need to wait like 3-4 months for the dermatologist and a week or a week and something to get to these specialists. Those of you who don't know, in the private insurance hospitals, it's not normally the case. You usually get on the same week or even like the next day if you need to go really urgently to some of the specialists. But right now, it's getting worse and worse. So a lot of people are already rethinking twice if they need the private insurance or if it's better to stay in the social security, because the waiting times start to be the same, except for surgeries and different diagnostic things like imaging, like echo, that actually do have some good appointment times and they are being able to dealt with quite urgently, as well as any other type of surgeries. But the consultations and emergency in these 2 private hospitals start to be really busy. And now let's talk about the weather. It has changed quite a lot, I must say, from yesterday to today. You know that we've just went out of the heat wave in Spain, where at some points it was like 43, 44, 45 degrees in South Spain. So it was really bad temperatures and difficult to cope with and head outside, especially on midday. So we needed to protect ourselves quite a lot. However, right now, yesterday we've got some clouds. By the way, there are still here, you can see them right there on the horizon below these mountains, which is the most famous mountain, by the way. It's called the Puig Campana, the highest one here in the area. And you are actually able to get on the top of it, but it's like a good 4 or 5 hours walk. However, right there are some clouds. Yesterday was way more, and in the evening we even needed to put some cardigan on top because it was quite chilly. Today it's nice temperature. It's not as hot. We don't even need a sun hat today to stay outside on the sunshine, which is good. It's much appreciated. And it's going to be around 24 to 25 degrees today, which is not a lot. In general, the weather will stay more or less the same as it is here today. There's going to be some rain in Balearic Islands today though, but not here. We'll just have some minor clouds on the horizon and nothing major. Towards the weekend of this week, we might have some more clouds here in the area, but once again, it should not be raining. The temperatures are mild right now, not aggressive at all. And today, as I've said, we have around 24 to 25 degrees here on the sunshine. And even in south parts of Spain, it's going to be around 30 degrees, not more than that. So it's really, really good. In Alicante, 24 today. In Barcelona, 22. Granada, 26. Malaga, 23. The hottest point probably today is going to be Sevilla, 30 degrees. Madrid, 22. Murcia, 29. Balearic Islands, 22. Canarian Islands between 22 and 26, depending on the island, you know it already. And Valencia around 24 degrees today. Towards the weekend, temperatures will rise back again to around 30, 32 here in the zone. And the water temperature today will be around 21.3 degrees. And I've seen a lot of people swimming already in our lovely Mediterranean Sea. This was the latest news update from Spain and Benidorm's region. I wish you a lovely, lovely day of today, and me and the Benidorm skyline behind my back are wishing you the lovely day and great holidays if you're coming in here shortly. I'll see you tomorrow with a new video from the Poniente Beach in Benidorm. See you then. Bye.